The NATO summit began in Vilnius. So far, so good. Members reached consensus. The obstacle of the Membership Action Plan, MAP, on the path of Ukraine's European integration is to be removed. Turkey has agreed to unblock Sweden's NATO membership. Good afternoon. This is Henry Keane on UATV Daily Wrap-Up to make sure the hard truth is to be explained in easy terms for the whole free world directly from Ukraine. The Vilnius summit is a landmark in a framework of the dialogue between Ukraine and the alliance. Obviously, the West has a unique chance to bring Ukraine's membership closer, which will be a significant contribution to strengthening NATO. But as Vilnius was bracing for a NATO summit on July 11th and 12th, that has temporarily swelled its population with thousands of soldiers, police officials and journalists, as well as 31 heads of state of government. It was not physical danger that made locals nervous. Their fear crossed the three Baltic states. Perhaps the alliance's most enthusiastic members is that their bigger partners will fail to rise to the occasion.
We have proved that we can stay united in the face of a huge challenge, and we have been strong in support of Ukraine. But now is the time to seal this politically and really strengthen the alliance. Gabrielius Landsbergis, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Lithuania.
As The Economist puts it brilliantly sharp, instead of waiting for Russia's full-scale invasion to act, the Baltic trio took sharp note of looming dangers way back in 2014 when Putin made his first grabs at Ukraine's Crimea and Donbas regions. Lithuania and later Latvia reintroduced conscription. Lithuania doubled and then tripled defense spending. All three unhinged themselves from Russian energy supplies. They successfully lobbied for bigger allies to preposition small numbers of troops and supplies on their territory. Yet their calls for stronger military deterrence, as well as for measures to protect European economies, were largely ignored in Berlin, Brussels and Paris. When Russian tanks rolled towards Kiev in February 2022, there was little surprise in the Baltics, but rather a glum pride in being right. We went from neurotics to experts overnight, says Mikhail Tik, who directs Estonia's cyber defense. This time, the alliance has a real chance to correct the historic mistake of 2008 summit in Bucharest, during which the alliance made a concession to Moscow. Let us hope it is obvious to the alliance these days any concessions only encourage the aggression of Russia. Go ask Georgia, go ask us in Ukraine, and it is a moment of a unique parity amidst growing Russian aggression and the Kremlin scaling up challenges and threats towards Europe. The alliance needs Ukraine in it as much as Ukraine needs to be in. Well, good news as of today are, first, the elimination of a map obstacle on Ukraine's way to alliance will significantly accelerate Ukraine's integration into NATO, as it will eliminate the factor of unnecessary bureaucracy. One more obstacle is eliminated just as well. Turkey agreed to Sweden's accession to NATO, and that inspires Ukraine very much, because it shows that the way to find a way to a mutual goal, new safety architecture structure of NATO and the world is possible. An international consensus is possible. Let us see how far into that brave new world it would lead us. We just need to wait one more day. Over the course of the past day, Russian forces have focused their main efforts on the Kupiansk, Liman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka and Marinka fronts, where 30 clashes occurred between Russian and Ukrainian forces. As General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine informed us as 6 o'clock in the morning today, on 11th of July. On the Bakhmut front, Ukraine's Defence Forces repelled Russian artillery-supported assaults on Grigoryevka, Donetsk Oblast. Russian forces carried out airstrikes near Druzhba and Toretsk. 10 settlements of the region came under Russian fire. The Ukrainian Defence Forces have seized the initiative from the enemy and are gradually recapturing the territory. Advancing Ukrainian troops have gained control over the main dominant heights around Bakhmut and now keep the entrances, exits and movements of the enemy in the city under fire control. Bakhmut, the conquest of which has been the obsession of the Russian command in propaganda, has become a trap for the occupiers. In the battle, the city, the aggressor suffered the greatest losses in personnel during the whole campaign, still never reaching a goal. Now it will be forced to retreat in disgrace. Let me express my own personal belief here and an opinion of not at all a military expert, but based on recent events and facts. Just as Ukraine liberated Bakhmut once in 2014, so it will do again in 2023. Once labeled by UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres as a beacon of hope, the grain agreement between Ukraine and Russia really can collapse these days. The Black Sea Grain Initiative has been repeatedly extended, but now Russia wants to let it expire in July, which could have, or rather said will have, global consequences. Ukraine is one of the world's largest grain suppliers. Ukrainian grain feeds 400 million people worldwide, according to World Food Programme figures. When Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine began in February 2022, many countries feared a famine. In Africa and the Middle East in particular, a hunger crisis is threatened. Food prices had already risen before the start of the Ukraine war, but the Russian invasion made them skyrocket worldwide. In addition, the Russian blockade of the Black Sea meant millions of tons of grain were stuck in Ukrainian silos in danger of rotting. According to the European Union, maintaining Ukrainian grain supplies remains critical to global food security. On July 17th, however, the previous term of the grain deal expires, and Russia once again threatens to refuse to extend the grain deal, seeking to ease international sanctions or whatever the Kremlin is seeking to ease. Since Russian blackmail demonstrates the Kremlin does not really care about global food security or any security at all. Which is not a big surprise, isn't it? Russia has blamed Ukraine before for a blast on a key ammonia pipeline last year and said it may have a negative impact on efforts to renew a landmark grain export deal. Moscow has accused Ukrainian sabotage groups for the blast that damaged the Telyati-Odessa pipeline. Before the war, the 2,500 kilometers, which is 1,530-mile-long ammonia pipeline, which runs from Russian city of Telyati to 3 Black Sea ports in southern and western Ukraine, exported 2.5 million tons of ammonia annually. But operations on the pipeline ceased after Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. These days, Moscow says it is making the necessary efforts in strict accordance with the rules of procedure so that all vessels participating in can successfully complete their mission and leave the Black Sea before July 17th, when the deal expires. It is nothing new, the same good old Russian lies in the industrial scale. Well, what happens next? After Russia withdraws from the grain deal, it is as obvious as it is barely veiled by clumsy Russian diplomacy. Civilian vessels will be sent to the bottom of the Black Sea, possibly by Russia. It looks like the only way left for Russia to act, as due to Russian sabotage already since the end of June, the grain deal actually does not function anyhow. Inspections are not carried out as supposed to. No grain is loaded. Vessels are stuck. Ukraine hopes for a mediating role of Turkey in the continuation of the grain deal for the sake of the whole world. However, Kiev is considering alternative options for continuing food exports in the event of Russia's withdrawal from the deal. It was Henry Keane on UATV English, hoping to give you the hard truth in easy enough terms on our daily wrap-up. Comment, like and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters a lot. Stay safe and tune for more tomorrow.